Gamers. Hello, welcome back. I hope you got your conspiracy socks on. Today we're gonna get right into this. We're gonna talk about life after death or something like that. We're watching the Y-Files basically. So strap in, relax, and I hope you're not afraid of things easily. So let's get right into it. Yep.
To the Y-Files is brought to you by HelloFresh. In 1901, Nikola Tesla had the most terrifying experience of his life. As he worked alone in the laboratory one night, he felt a presence. So he created a device to see if he could hear or pick up any signals from whatever it was that he felt. He called it the spirit radio, and it worked. And Tesla wasn't alone.
Spooky.
Throughout history, famous scientists who helped shape the technology we use today have spoken of ghosts and hauntings that shook them to their core. And while you might think these are nothing more than ghost stories, you'd be right. But there is scientific data that supports the existence of ghosts. Data that has been suppressed until now.
Oh my gosh.
Human, I'm glad I caught you.
Phantoms, all these names are given to the physical appearance of disembodied souls. When the presence of a ghost is felt or experienced by the living, it's called a haunting. Ghosts and
Mm-hmm.
hauntings exist in every culture, and all civilizations throughout history have their own superstitions and beliefs about what ghosts are and why they're here. In fact, the earliest funeral services weren't intended to honor the dead. They were ceremonies to make sure the spirits of the dead stayed dead. In ancient Mesopotamia,
Interesting.
the dead required a proper burial in order to reach Urkala, the underworld. If the funeral wasn't followed correctly, or the family of the dead failed to conduct the proper mourning rituals, the gods would grant the dead permission to return to Earth and haunt the living. These
Hmm.
ghosts were believed to haunt people and places just like we believe today. The ancient Mesopotamians believed that ghosts could enter a living person's body and bring them bad luck, illness, and even death. Almost
That seems alright.
everyone, regardless of faith or culture, has at least one creepy ghost story, something that happened to them or someone they know that involves ghosts.
Oh, I got one.
Of course you do.
After I lost my job as a professor,
I
me and
love
a
that
couple other
fish.
guys started this business chasing ghosts around New York. Well, things got crazy, and ghosts were all over the place. And then the Sumerian god shows up, and they end up making sweet love to Sigourney Weaver. And
Hang
then,
on.
What?
That's the plot of Ghostbusters.
I know, Aykroyd stole that from me.
I highly
Wow.
doubt that.
Well, we'll see what you say after the lawsuit.
Wait, what did you say about Sigourney Weaver?
Oh, sure, now you're interested, huh? You'll have to wait for my memoir like everybody else.
Wow.
One of the first recorded hauntings was by the author and statesman Pliny the Younger in the 1st century AD. Pliny the Younger is mostly remembered for his dramatic first-hand account of the Mount Vesuvius eruption in 79 AD. But
Interesting.
Pliny could also spin a
It's
good
lit.
ghost story. The most famous of Pliny's ghost stories is that of philosopher Athenodorus Canonites. Athenodorus was looking for somewhere to live in Athens and came upon a property that seemed incredibly affordable for its size and design. Almost too affordable. Athenodorus was
It's
told that the
haunted.
house was haunted, and not being
Knew it.
one for the quote, vain terrors of imaginary noises and apparitions, Athenodorus rented the property, and everything was fine at first. Then
Okay.
one night he was doing some writing when he heard chains rattling.
Then began the
Ooh.
clanking of iron chains. However, he neither lifted up his eyes nor laid down his pen, but closed his ears by concentrating his attention. The noise increased and advanced nearer, till it seemed at the door and at last in the chamber. He looked round and saw the apparition exactly as it had been described to him. It stood before him, beckoning.
Okay, side note.
This sounds like
Athenodorus was a
Scrooge.
famous Stoic. Stoicism is a philosophy of acceptance, inner peace, focus, and controlling one's emotions. Basically, Stoicism is go with the flow and don't sweat the small stuff. So a ghost shows up dragging chains and looking all corpsey, and rather than freak out, Athenodorus does the most stoic thing I've ever heard of. Without saying a word and without looking up, Athenodorus holds up a finger, indicating that he just needs a minute to finish what he's doing. But the ghost kept
Huh.
rattling his chains, and when Athenodorus turned around, the ghost beckoned him once again.
The ghost slowly stalked along as if encumbered with its chains, and having turned into the courtyard of the house, suddenly vanished.
Zam.
The next day he went to the magistrates and advised them to order that spot to be dug up. There
I
they
guess it was a
found
body.
bones commingled
Also,
and intertwined with chains. For the
caught
body
it.
had mouldered away by long lying in the ground, leaving them bare and corroded by the fetters. The bones were collected and buried at the public expense, and after the ghost
Good.
was thus duly laid, the house was haunted no more.
This story was corroborated by others who knew both Pliny the Younger and Athenodorus. This is one of the many examples of hauntings that convinced Pliny that ghosts were very much a real thing. But ghosts don't always fit the stereotype of being spirit-like apparitions that appear in the dead of night. Ghosts can also be poltergeists. Poltergeists have been investigated as far back as 856 AD, when one tormented a family in Germany. Poltergeist in German means rumbling or noisy spirit. Unlike typical ghosts, which have limited interaction with the physical world, poltergeists cause physical disturbances. This one threw stones and started fires.
Just another day in Portland, eh?
No, this was Germany.
Hmm.
But how many of these hauntings we hear about are real? And what can we do to scientifically validate the concept that the dead might still be walking among us? Well, all we have to do is go on a hunt, because ghosts are
ghost hunt.
surprisingly easy to find.
What?
Poltergeists. Poltergeists have been. Ghosts can also be poltergeists. Poltergeists have been investigated as far back as 856 AD, when one tormented a family in Germany. Poltergeist in German means rumbling or noisy spirit. Unlike typical ghosts, which have limited interaction with the physical world, poltergeists cause physical disturbances. This one threw stones and started fires.
Just
Let me
another
check
day in
something real quick.
Portland, eh?
No, this was
Okay.
Germany. But how many of these hauntings we hear about?
Can we already get to this part?
Most people have no clue that in
Oh,
2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not.
I just felt someone grab my ass.
What?
Like hard, Nick.
What?
Hard. I could feel like this on my butt.
Ew, what?
Or even cheesier YouTube videos.
What are you doing?
The
You
ghost
setting up a
sussy as hell.
volleyball?
Catch a ghost.
Okay.
Oh shit. It's Freddy Fazbear, oh my gosh.
What the was that?
But people have been trying to
Aw,
actively
man.
locate spirits
Ghost call
and contact
4K.
the dead for thousands of
3 AM,
years.
cops called.
Just recently, a cave was found near Jerusalem with artifacts relating to Roman-era death magic tools used to contact lost relatives.
Did they find any ancient Roman volleyball nets?
Not that I'm aware of.
Damn. Oh, they got him. Oh, 4K. Oh, shit.
Modern ghost hunting can be broken down into two
Damn.
different areas. Contacting the
We
dead
got 'em.
directly via psychics
Ladies
or
and gentlemen,
seances,
we got him.
or going to an allegedly haunted location in order to identify the presence of ghostly phenomena. Ghost hunting took off as a scientific pursuit in the 19th and 20th centuries, and things started out simple. People would gather, look for disturbances, make observations, and try to identify whether there were ghosts in their homes. One of the first
Hey, that's
books
him.
on the subject was published in 1936. It's called Confessions of a Ghost Hunter by Harry Price, 30 years into his
Okay.
career as a professional hunter. In the book, Price describes how that all that was needed to investigate hauntings in the early 1800s was a black parlor, a red lamp, and a circle of credulous sitters, and vivid imagination. Other early examples
Yeah,
of ghost hunting
sure.
methods that
Why
are
not?
still in use today include dowsing. And this is where Y or L-shaped rods, often called dowsing rods, are used to locate hidden resources, like groundwater,
It's also used to find some
gemstones,
bitches,
grave sites, and all kinds of stuff, without the use of scientific
but it
equipment.
never works.
Then there's a tool that everybody knows, Ouija boards.
Yeah, of course.
A Ouija board is also known as a spirit board or a talking board. And this is a flat board marked with letters of the alphabet and the numbers 0 through 9. Often the words yes, no, hello, and goodbye are also marked. It comes with a small
Yeah, we
heart-shaped
know.
piece of wood or plastic
Luigi.
called a planchette. A group of people will sit in a circle around the board and gently place the board. The results.
Yeah, we know it. I've already heard all that.
Used in modern science to prove
We
or
need some
disprove
actual
various
proof
theories
over here.
is the collection of proxy data. Proxy data indirectly suggests a theory is true, like using tree rings to see how hot or cold different summers were when we don't have
Okay.
actual records, or
That's
how
pretty
we
cool.
can tell
I didn't
whether
know that.
different parts of the planet were under the ocean because of the existence of sedimentary rock deposits in the middle of the desert. or marine fossils on
Interesting.
mountaintops. The more the data shows similar results, the more we can prove a theory is true. In ghost hunting, we have so much proxy data that it's hard to know where to start.
Seems
There
alright.
are a lot of instruments that tell us when energy and matter is fluctuating abnormally,
Oh
suggesting the
yeah, yeah.
presence of a
Got a lot of
ghost.
those readers.
We even have audio and video equipment that can record things we'd never
Mm-hmm.
otherwise be able to see with just our naked eye. Probably the most well-known scientific ghost hunting tool is an EMF reader, basically a modern-day ghost phone meets spirit radio. EMF stands for electromagnetic field, and these are invisible areas of energy often referred to as different types of radiation, such as radio waves, X-rays, gamma, microwaves,
And we
sunlight,
know
and
ghosts
even
are made
human
of
brainwaves.
energy.
Some speculate that if consciousness or a soul is a form of energy, then
What'd
the
I
first
say?
law of thermodynamics might apply. The conservation of energy says that energy cannot be created or destroyed. So if
Mm-hmm.
consciousness is energy, this energy continues in some form
How it
after
feels,
death.
good head.
This energy might interact with the electromagnetic spectrum, and EMF meters detect these interactions and fluctuations. So think of it like this. You're in a room in an abandoned building with the door closed, no windows open. You're miles
Mm-hmm.
from the closest Wi-Fi or other energy
And you
that can
picked
show
up a
up
signal.
on an EMF meter. At first, the reading will be steady. Then, when a ghost is present, out of nowhere, you'll get a sudden spike.
Come here. Come here.
That's definitely a ghost.
Yeah, well, they thought so.
Yeah, definitely. Or, you know, a light source.
No, dude.
Or magnetism.
I think I'm gonna go hang out in the lobby for a little bit. With other people. Yo.
Pussy.
Ghost hunters believe that spirits can cause a shift in a magnetic field, causing EMF meters to pick up their frequency. The same goes for K2 meters, which also detect random spikes in electromagnetic energy that seem to come out of nowhere.
Seems alright.
And many of these types of devices can also pick up the sudden temperature drops that are so uniquely associated with hauntings. You know
Mm-hmm.
how you get a sudden shiver or out of nowhere you feel like you're being watched? Well, ghost
Yep.
hunters say that's a spirit walking through you.
Nah, that's a Redditor.
With most EMF meters, ghost hunters get two forms of proxy data: sudden
There's a
unexplained
Discord
changes in
monitor
an
nearby.
electromagnetic field and isolated temperature changes. Another piece of ghost hunting equipment is an anemometer, which is commonly used by meteorologists to measure wind
As long as
speed
it's
and
not a
pressure.
rectal
In
monitor.
ghost hunting, you can use an anemometer to seek out sudden changes in airflow or detect cold spots. They're also helpful in cases where someone suspects a ghost is slamming doors or moving items around their homes.
Ooh, like
Mm-hmm.
a poltergeist?
Exactly.
You're a
Cross
couple
over,
of
children! All are welcome! All welcome! Go into the light!
No! You said
What the fuck?
light!
There is peace and serenity in the light.
I'm going.
When you couple EMF
Oh,
readings with data
that's
from
so weird.
anemometers, ghost hunters can pinpoint tiny fluctuations in temperature and the electromagnetic field, which are then confirmed using infrared thermometers. If your
Seems
EMF
alright.
meter, your anemometer, and your laser thermometer are all telling you there's a ghost, well, it's kind of hard to argue otherwise.
If it walks like a duck,
Right.
it talks like a duck,
I got it.
Then it's a dog.
it's a duck.
There's also something called a radiating electromagnetism pod. A REM
Oh yeah,
pod
I've
is
seen
a
those.
small device with an antenna that creates its own electromagnetic field. It reacts when anything that conducts electricity gets anywhere near it.
That's amazing.
A REM pod has 5 different lights that indicate the strength of the disturbance.
A REM pod is basically a modified theremin, which is an electronic musical
Sorry, I don't
instrument
trust the
that's
travel
played
channel.
without actually touching it. The musician manipulates the magnetic field around the instrument to change the sound.
It is pretty cool though, as an instrument standpoint.
Ah, I missed that show.
Well, Doctor Who is still on.
Yeah, but is it though?
True.
Another piece of equipment is the Mel meter, which was specifically designed for ghost hunting. Mel meters use an antenna to detect motion. They have a gauge to track changes in temperature and have all the same elements as an EMF reader.
Seems alright.
I have absolutely.
This girl's face makes me mad. Yeah, why
Most
she
of
sound
these
like that?
devices are pretty much the same, and they're a lot better at debunking a haunting than proving one. But in many cases,
yeah.
the information provided by these devices is
It
enough
all
to
leads to
lay the
one thing:
groundwork for ghost
money.
hunters to take their
Keeper.
explorations a step further and gather video and audio evidence of specters. Because it's one thing to detect a ghost, but it's something else entirely when you actually see one.
No cap, no cap.
When you're injured in an accident,
Ah,
hiring
shit.
an attorney should be one of the first things that you do. Morgan & Morgan has made it so
EMF meters, Mel meters, REM pods, these can all detect ghosts, but still the results are up to interpretation. But if you see a ghost, there's nothing
your
to
phone.
interpret.
Spooky, oh
Photographs of
shit.
ghosts are pretty
Not for the
easy to
faint of
come
heart.
by in the digital age, but the best results will come from cameras specifically designed to photograph ghosts.
Spooky.
Full spectrum cameras.
Yep, yep.
A full spectrum camera can pick up all forms of light, from infrared through ultraviolet. And they're not that
Oh, hell.
complicated to make. You can convert just about any camera into a full spectrum camera. All you have to do is remove the infrared cut filter and replace it with a piece of clear glass, which makes it sensitive to UV. And by the way,
Right.
even though you can convert most cameras to full spectrum, don't try to convert your phone. You'll definitely break it.
Oh, more
Ghost
likely, yeah.
hunters use full spectrum cameras to try and pick up things we can't see with our naked eye. And surprising no one, they're most commonly used in dark spaces, but they
Yeah,
work
same
in all
part.
environments. Entities captured on full
So they can
spectrum
show you how
cameras
much there's
have been
nothing
known
there.
to glow or emit their own light source. And these ghosts come in all shapes and sizes. Some ghost hunters prefer using just an infrared video light. These cameras are
Yo.
more than enough to film in near or total darkness.
Well, damn, now, there we go. Proof right there. There it goes. Confirmed. Among Us! Sus.
Or if you want to be really basic and find ghosts in dark environments, you can just use a black light.
Yo, yeah,
Ghost
black light.
hunters will often use black lights to reveal hidden or hard to find evidence of ghosts or messages from our ancestors. A black light is a type of light bulb that emits ultraviolet light. This type of light is not visible to the human eye, but when it
Oh, yeah,
shines on
scorpions
certain
glow in the dark.
materials, it can cause
Cool
them
fact.
to glow. Black lights are also excellent for revealing hoaxes. They can spot super thin laser lights, fishing lines, even holograms, and other weird devices used when someone is staging a haunting.
And that is how you break into a jail cell. Or, I mean, a bank. What am I talking
Another
about?
way to figure out if a haunting is a hoax is by using an SLS camera. SLS stands for Structured Light Sensor. These cameras send out thousands of tiny points of light to map out a room or other type
Damn,
of
getting
space,
technical.
revealing things that aren't apparent to the naked eye.
Oh,
Ghost
shit.
hunters use SLS cameras to identify apparitions that alter the way light flows through the space. But how do we know that these figures and shapes are
Hope
really
you got your
ghosts
Brave
and
Boy
not
socks on.
aliens
It
or
is
shadow
getting
people
spooky.
or something else entirely? Well, it's actually pretty simple. We can just ask them.
Oh, damn. Are you made in this? Yes.
We've come a long way since the ghost phone and spirit radio. We have tools right in our pockets that allow us to record everything going on around us and analyze that information to see if there's anything
the
we've
stream real quick.
missed. There are many different types of audio
We're good.
devices that you can use in ghost hunting, and they all look for the same things: EVPs or ITCs. EVPs are electronic voice phenomena. ITCs are instrumental transcommunication. EVPs are defined by pure disembodied voices.
Looks like an MP3
These
player.
voices can be captured on an audio device, but you usually can't hear them.
That's kind of fucking useless then.
Ghost hunters often have to analyze and break down the layers of sound at a later time to hear the messages.
So it's hoax. Pretty much. Anyway.
ITCs are a little more nuanced. Instead of recording a sound that needs to be analyzed later, an ITC happens when ghosts interact with radios and other mediums in real time.
Zam. Well, yeah, I saw that when Sam and Colby did a video on it. I'm thirsty for that
Most
pussy.
examples of EVPs and ITCs include single words or repeated phrases, maybe a short sentence at the very most.
That's what my family tells
Usually
me.
they're nothing more than grunts or groans.
But I don't believe them.
The quality of
definitely
EVPs
silly.
often fluctuates as well. They fall on a scale from Class A to Class C. Class A being the easiest to understand and are usually pretty loud.
Here, turn it down just in case it like yells or something.
And it sounds like she says, of course I'm in the room. Where are you?
Princess, can you at least let
Yeah,
us know you're
turn it
here?
over.
Can you say something? Can you say...
Class B EVPs have some warping on
It
particular
wasn't
syllables.
actually that loud.
They're lower in volume or sometimes sound like the person is far away.
This is right. Yeah, let's think right.
Class
Yeah,
C
we know.
EVPs are the hardest to understand or interpret.
So if you know of anybody that did it, can you let us know, or can you move just a little
Oh, this is
bit
all the news.
faster? You heard any?
I didn't think
You heard any?
ghost things really got on the news.
When a message can't be clearly understood, some ghost hunters will turn to the Ovilus. The Ovilus is a device that contains a database of various words and syllables. It said it can detect and translate energy fields. People call it a speak and spell for the dead.
It's weird. I just sent Aaron inside, and it said abort, unholy chills.
By picking up on certain fluctuations, the Ovilus works as a middleman between the world of the living and the world of the dead. When asked a question, pretty much any question, the Ovilus will respond.
Do you know that we're going to come inside? Do you know where this voice is coming from?
Like I said before, I don't really trust the Travel Channel too often, but
Thanks to all these scientific tools, the world of ghost hunting is abundant with proxy data, all of it adding up to validate the existence of ghosts. So ghosts are real, right?
yeah, they are. Although I wouldn't really call them ghosts; they're more demons. What the fuck? Okay.
Our fascination with ghosts and ghost hunting has created a huge industry. Modern ghost hunting and haunted tourism are so big.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Some
It's all about
towns
money,
refuse to engage with
paper.
their haunted histories. They don't want to damage their
How
reputations.
much money you can make
or
just
be
by saying
descended
ghost?
upon by packs of YouTubers with wacky gadgets.
Hey, there's Sam Cole. Just like what I said.
That hasn't stopped people from traveling all over the world to hunt for the dead.
Of course, it's
A
entertainment.
lot of money on devices to help them do it, with mixed results.
Paper.
EMF meters, for example. EMFs are invisible chunks of energy, sometimes referred to as radiation, that are associated with electrical power. Electrical transmission through these fields happens through
It's
alternating
kinda long.
currents, AC, or direct currents, DC. DC EMFs are pretty stable
Interesting.
and don't really do much. But AC creates waves at a range of different frequencies and amplitudes, and these waves are erratic and prolific and all over the place. So it's logical that EMF and K2 meters give such wacky readings, even if no ghosts are present. MEL meters and REM pods have the same issues. They were made specifically for ghost hunting, but the readings
skip ahead a little bit.
beliefs. Some psychics think the voices they hear in audio recordings could be their own projected consciousness.
Actually, that could make kind of sense, but like,
People of faith
yeah,
often believe they're hearing messages from angels or demons. But for the
like
most
I
part,
said.
EVPs and ITCs usually turn out to be nothing more than a hoax.
Yeah.
Welcome. Please come in.
What the
I can't
fuck?
tell you how pleased I am to see you.
Wow.
Can't tell you
That's pretty funny, actually.
Can't tell you how pleased I am.
He took an ASMR video and turned it into a ghost.
Accepted protocols for gathering audio from
Wow.
ghosts. Ghost hunters just kind of make it up as they go along.
What'd I say? What did I
Same thing
say?
happens when recordings are analyzed.
It's all about the views,
Investigators
the
can
paper,
easily
the
manipulate
money.
the sounds.
I'm not saying that ghosts aren't real, but the people that have their own channels and stuff
Just because you want to.
usually
And
want
that's
money,
basically what the
so
Ovilus
they'll make
device
up
is.
stuff.
Like I said, it's just a simple collection of environmental detectors that spit out a sound. Unfortunately, the desire to find ghosts exceeds the actual evidence they exist. Whether it's a
Exactly.
photo from a full spectrum camera or any type of audio recording, everything can be altered to reveal what the hunter wants to find. The first ghost hoax photograph was taken way back in 1861 by William H. Mumler. Mumler took a self-portrait with a plate that was already exposed. It looked like there was a ghost behind him. He shared
Oh,
the
yeah,
image with
yeah.
his friends as a joke, a
That's
19th
kinda cool.
century meme. But as the
Wow.
photograph reached more
The
people,
memes,
some of them
Batman.
started claiming it was real. It didn't take long
The
before people
memes,
were
the
finding
DNA of the
ghosts
soul.
everywhere. Now, even if it's not manipulated, with no consistency on how ghost hunters gather their data, how can anyone prove anything scientifically? You need to follow
Yeah, that's true.
precise methodologies when trying to prove something with science. And ghost hunting does not follow the scientific method.
Yeah, you just gotta either believe it or you don't believe it. There's not really anything you can do.
One of the few
Aw,
tools
shit.
used in ghost
Saw
hunting
some
that
on
does
this.
capture somewhat accurate data is the SLS camera. But
Oh,
even
yeah,
those types of cameras are famous
But,
for picking up
you know.
all kinds of anomalies. And they're also highly prone to human error and
Yep.
manipulation.
Yep.
The scientific method requires long-term studies and measurable data. Experiments need to be conducted under very specific means and repeated multiple times to prove their accuracy. The way ghost hunters use this technology has actually set the entire field of research back, and the reality shows don't help.
A young man she met here who was a seaman went away. A seaman, a man of the
Seaman?
you might call it
Tom?
Merchant Marine.
Pussy? Exactly.
Stop. Let go of yourself. Let go of your hand. Let go of your neck. Stop.
Well,
But is
poor
lack
dude.
of science a problem for ghost hunters or a problem for science? And
I
what
think
if
he
we've
likes
been
it though.
using the wrong type of science all along?
Pinky.
While none of the tools used by ghost hunters reveals any type of scientific evidence that ghosts exist, there's still one big thing they haven't done. They haven't proven that ghosts are not real.
Exactly.
The human body is acutely attuned to its physical environment. Now, modern technology has dulled our instincts, but we still have them. We know when we're somewhere we're not supposed to be. We know when we're being watched. We know when we're not alone. Now, some people actually enjoy this sensation, and maybe ghost hunters just have an itch for fear that's best
Probably.
scratched by visiting with the dead.
Mm-hmm.
Other people get into paranormal research because they
They
miss
figure
a
out more.
deceased loved one and want to
Yeah.
regain that connection. Despite centuries of research, no one can say definitively what happens after death. No one can agree
Yeah, we
on
got
what
a
people
pretty good idea.
experience during a near-death experience. Are people having a hallucination, or is there something more to it?
There's
Ghost
more to it.
stories are one of the few things that unite all cultures around the world, now and through all of history. And that's an awful lot of proxy data. Near-death experiences are often described the same way, regardless of culture. Now, something this universal could be grounded in truth. And maybe the
Yeah.
answers are out there, and we just haven't discovered the right technology to prove they exist.
Well, technology doesn't do everything.
The implications of discovering ghosts
Oh
are
shit,
far
we
more
found a ghost.
profound than just
4K.
figuring out what happens after death. If ghosts are real, everything we know changes. Even
Well,
though
clearly.
modern ghost hunting is clouding the science, people are not going to stop believing in ghosts or stop looking
course
for
not.
them. Believers and even non-believers seek a connection to people of the past. And this could be the recent past, like a
That's
loved
very
one who just
interesting, yeah.
died, or could be the distant past where a ghost can help us fill gaps in history. And the need to prove the existence
But I
of
wouldn't go
ghosts
messing with
is
it
also
unless you want to get
closely
fucking
coupled
killed.
with our natural fear of death. Even if we overcome that fear, it's very uncomfortable to picture a world where we don't exist. So if ghosts are
Yep.
real, then the afterlife is real, and our
Yep.
consciousness or soul can live on. It's a comforting thought, and the foundation for almost all religions. But
Yep.
maybe it's better we don't know. If there was proof of
Leave
an
it to the human
afterlife, it
imagination.
might cause people to behave badly in this life.
Yeah.
Or worse, it might cause people who are in pain to want to leave this life early. Because if
Yep.
there's an afterlife to look forward to, not an afterlife based on faith, but an afterlife based on fact, then this life loses its value. So as long as there's no proof of life
Man
after
spitting
death,
though, for
we
real.
have to do the best we can for the short time we're here. We have to live in
Yeah.
the present moment, because we never know when the present moment will be our last. I think having a fear of death is healthy. It's not
Yeah,
pleasant,
that's what makes
but
you
it's
human.
healthy and normal. Fear of death is nothing to be ashamed of. That fear keeps
It's
you
what gives your
present.
life meaning.
That fear keeps you safe. And that fear, it's what makes us human.
That's what I said. Exactly.
Thank you so much.
That was a good video. That was a good video, definitely. Here, let's see. There we go. That was a pretty enjoyable video. Thank you for joining me today. But yeah, you made a lot of good points. That's exactly what I was saying. Just live your life to the fullest. Enjoy this life while you still have it. You know, don't end it early because you only got one chance at life. So live it to your best. And thank you very much for watching today. And let me know if you enjoyed. Thank you and have a good night.